What's good? I don't know if I'm actually going to post this video or not, but it's kind of connected to the last video I posted, talking about men's meaning crisis. An element I didn't discuss that I want to try to bring up now is how many of our fathers failed us. And that's a controversial thing to say because many of our fathers are still alive. You know, if you're like me, mid 30s, my deadbeat dad is definitely still, well, I'm pretty sure he's still alive. We don't talk, but I struggle with my relationship with him for a lot of reasons. I do feel like he failed me. Let me just backstory a little bit. Growing up, my mom's first husband, I thought was my biological father, but then they got divorced and I found out he wasn't. That was kind of traumatic, for a young boy. I was around 10, 11 when that happened. And then came the question, okay, well, who is my biological father? And I got a lot of different stories from my mom and various family members about that. And that was also traumatic because some of the stories weren't great. One of the stories was that my mom was a prostitute and he was involved in drug dealing, maybe. He denies that version of the story because years later, my twin brother did a DNA test and we got a name for who our biological father was. And with that name came a phone number and some text conversations. A little bit of money was given at first when he first discovered that we existed, but as time progressed and as our story, my brothers and I, he has his own story, I have my story, but neither one of us are really fulfilling our potential, and it sucks because I consider myself a reasonably intelligent person, and I know my brother is too, and to see us waste our lives and our potential really sucks. But after 6 months to a year of talking, at the time that I met, we've never actually met, we've only talked via text. But at the time that we first started corresponding, I was living in a van and like in my friend's driveway, and I was like asking for help. And I remember like it hit me pretty hard when he talked about, why he couldn't help my brother and I financially was because he had to worry about his retirement, which I get, I hope my retirement, I don't know what the fuck my future is going to look like, but, just hearing that his retirement was more important than helping his sons that he didn't play any part or contribute at all to raising, who need help, his retirement was more important than that. That really hurt. And then on top of that, him telling me I need to shave my beard and cut my hair and get a fucking job. Oh, and I need to find Jesus, which is just really funny because didn't Jesus have long hair and a beard? I'm modeling my life after Jesus in so many ways, but because it's not in the conventional Christian sense, I'm not a good person, and he doesn't want anything to do with me. And so it's really, really a mind fuck to try to mourn the loss of someone that is still alive. because like it's just I know I said it's a mind fuck, but like try to wrap your brain around the fact that your biological father is alive but is dead to you. For so much of my childhood, I dreamed of finally discovering who my father was, and for him to like take an interest in me in my life. And when that happened, that I found out who he was, and he took almost no interest in my life. That hurt a lot. I set myself up for that one though, because I created the expectation that he would care and want to be involved. And when you set expectations, that's when you set yourself up for disappointment. And so I did that to myself. But the truth of the matter, the reality of the situation is that he's still alive. And I think often about like when he does pass away, what am I going to feel? Because I already hurt, I already mourn, but like not in the way that I should. It's this false mourning. You know, I imagine I'll be maybe consoled. I think I'll actually feel relief when he passes away, because I'll finally be able to properly mourn. I'll finally be able to say, he's dead. It's not that he doesn't like me. It's not that he doesn't want to invest in me. It's not that he's disappointed in me. He's dead. So it won't hurt as much. Like I hold on to this hurt that I shouldn't, and I know I shouldn't, but I do. Because my father let me down, just like many of other men's fathers have let them down. They have not set them up for success. They have not fought to build a beautiful society. They are not very virtuous. I think why I generally lean towards liking conservative people more than progressive people is because I do see more virtue in the conservative movement, in that ideology. More real virtue. The progressive movement is full of faux virtue, F-A-U-X, fake virtue. It's all, oh, this is an emotionally charged subject, so we should take the position that is the least emotionally offensive, or that are most emotionally supportive. It's very emotionally driven, and virtue does not come from emotion. Virtue comes from logic, reason, rationality. Emotion is fake virtue. So when we accuse the left of being virtue signalers, that's all that they're doing. It's just like, oh, look at me, I care about the emotions of something. Not the reality of that thing, but the emotions of that thing, which is so easy to do. It is so easy to just say, I side with the least viscerally emotional side, right? I'm kind of rambling at this point, but I guess maybe I'll wrap it up with saying, if you're a struggling man, it's your duty to build society, to protect society, to stand for what is right and virtuous. And just because maybe your father or your father's father, maybe because they failed, that doesn't mean you have an excuse to fail. That means you have more reason to stand up for what is right and do what is right. And if you ever have kids, man, you better fucking take care of them. Because that's so much trauma on your karma. But that's just me speaking from a wounded place, a wounded boy, trying to become a man and failing. But I'll get there. Thank you for listening.